Katie is out today. 3 friends watched the Kansas City Chiefs game a couple weeks ago when it was 30 below wind chill. And 3 of the 4 friends that were there, some say there was a 5th, died outside, froze to death. And people were like, wow, that sucks. I mean, it was like, what a tragedy. But it was like the coldest night of the year there. And I
this
guess
is in Kansas City
in
area?
Kansas City, yeah.
So this is what's odd when you're saying this to me, Jared, because you're talking about 3 friends all in the backyard that died. That means one of the 3 must have seen the other one die, unless they got so drunk and they passed out and froze to death, because didn't the owner go inside and the owner's claiming he didn't know his friends died back there, and it's been days that they were sitting there?
My understanding, it was days, and it was only because one of the men that died, that froze to death, as far as we know at this point, was engaged, and his fiance is like trying to find him, and so they're like tracing his steps. So, well, they were at this house, but surely he would have called us, and if he was there still. And then they sent the police over, is my understanding, and the guy like answered the door, and he's like, what I've read is a glass of wine. He's like in his bathrobe. He's like, wait, what? My friends are dead in the yard?
In my backyard.
And
that's like someone showing up your house and saying, oh, yeah, your 3 friends are dead in your backyard.
So family members of the victims and also friends of the victims are saying, wait a minute, there's got to be more to this story. We do have our official attorney, Lisa Lanier. Good morning, Lisa.
Hey, good morning. I love this story. It's a shame Katie's out. I think she would love this story. It's just fascinating. And there's so much to it. I've read a million articles. You know how I go down these rabbit holes when you send me these stories.
Yeah.
I read for hours trying to find more information about this because it's fascinating. So this guy, Jordan Willis, he rents this house. His friends came over after the game. There were 5 of them to begin with. Then one of them left at first, so this guy, Jordan Willis, this is what's really shady about this. He keeps changing his story. He's lawyered up already.
Yeah.
And, which is, that's what you should do, right? That's what I would tell somebody to do. But at the same time, it makes people go, why are you lawyering up already? But he's changed his story so many times. So he says that this anonymous 5th person, at first he said that guy left earlier in the evening while everybody was still hanging out. Now he's saying that guy was still there when he went to sleep. One version Jordan gave was that he saw these guys to the door and then went to bed. Another later version was, no, I think I fell asleep and they were all still in there partying.
Yeah.
So he just keeps flipping and flopping and changing his story. These guys, one was on his back porch. I cannot imagine some dead body sitting on my back porch for 2 days and I don't see it or know about it. The other 2 guys were in his backyard. Family members of these guys, the 2 cars of these guys were parked in front of the house, and family members called and texted and sent social media messages. And I mean, they just hounded this guy trying to get up with him. So like you said, finally the fiance and one other, she brought a friend, they came to the house pounding on the door. He's in there. He doesn't answer. They break the window out. The fiance is like, dude, this is crazy. So she breaks the window out, or her friend does. And finally, they find the dead body that's on the back porch. They call the police. And then when the police come, like you said, the guy comes through the door in his boxers holding a glass of wine like, what's going on? And it's just crazy. But as of right now, the prosecutor has said, he's talked to Jordan Willis, and he says, I'm looking at this. But the police have said so far, no signs of foul play. And that just means, nobody was bludgeoned, obviously.
Or
shot
anything like
or
that. Stabbed, yeah.
Or shot, right. No external signs of that. But this just doesn't smell right.
No.
And I think what's going to really carry the day, and I'm just waiting, I've got Google Alerts set up because I can't wait to hear, is going to be those toxicology reports. Because I suspect that not only were they very intoxicated, but I suspect there might be something like fentanyl being used or something like that. It just seems really shady. And that's a real, the drug problem is very real among working people. A lot of people think, it's just a problem for, losers that don't have jobs or whatever. It's not. or just young people. It's not. I mean, these guys were in their mid to late 30s. They sort of had like working class jobs ish. They kind of were in and out of trouble, some of them, but they were pretty. They were pretty solid guys, right, for the most part, from what we know so far. But it's guys like that who, the fentanyl, especially opioids. I mean, it's a problem. So it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if something like that was involved, or it could just be alcohol.
Well, let me ask you, Lisa. A lot of times, people aren't using fentanyl just to use fentanyl. It's sometimes like not normal drugs, but drugs can be laced with fentanyl. So is there a possibility that these guys, this guy went to bed, these guys did drugs, had fentanyl, made them pass out, and then they froze to death because they didn't wake up because they were passed out from the drugs?
Absolutely. And then you're going to have potential criminal charges against either Jordan or this fifth guy if they provided the drugs. I mean, that's where you may have a problem there.
Okay, let's say you provided drugs just in general, and then somebody dies. Can you be like, what is there a certain degree of murder? Or I guess it depends on the circumstances. Is that like a?
It depends on the circumstances, but you're looking at probably at least a manslaughter charge.
But I mean, if somebody, like, for instance, that's why is weed legal? And where's this?
Missouri.
Do you know if weed's
legal?
legal?
I don't think it is, but I don't think so. But I don't know for sure.
So let's say weed's not legal, so they have to buy the weed from somebody. A dealer. And weed's pretty harmless. I know people have their feelings, but I think weed's pretty harmless. It's probably in some instances safer than alcohol. So they go and they buy this weed to have a little bit of a good time, and the weed is laced with fentanyl. Is that really a criminal charge now, where some states weed could be legal and all of a sudden this is laced with fentanyl? The guy's going to get charged for buying a little bit of weed that was laced? It's not his fault. It's the drug dealer's fault.
If people die as a result of your illegal conduct, you're going to get charged with something pretty serious.
Yeah. What about the drug dealer, though, that laced it?
Well, and then sometimes that's what they'll actually do is they'll actually use the person like this kid, this Jordan guy. They might use him to get to somebody bigger.
The bigger fish,
so they might offer him a plea deal or something to give up who he bought it from.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
The fifth guy already has a lawyer, too, so I think there's something up here.
Yeah,
like, why is it? You're not even named, and you've already got a lawyer here.
Well, and the interesting thing, like this news story came out, and it was a headline at first, and no one was really. It was just like, oh, that's because it was it was negative 30 wind chill. It was a freezing night, and people thought, oh, how unfortunate. As soon as I saw that, I saw three guys in their 30s. This is before we knew they were in the yard for a couple of days, dead on the same night in somebody's yard. I'm like, this doesn't sound right. Something's off with this. Yeah. I mean, it could be the oddest coincidence, but it's just seemed no.
But to me,
it seems like Jordan either he was on some kind of like bender with drugs or alcohol and literally didn't know these people were dead in his yard, or he thought that he could just sometimes when people, I see this a lot when people like with defendants in cases, and they know they're in trouble and they think if they just put their head in the sand and don't answer any questions and don't talk to anybody, then it's going to go away, and it doesn't go away.
Because this Jordan guy was ignoring texts and Facebook messages from the family, right, for 2 days.
Yeah, and one family member I read said that you could see he read it because he had read messages.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. That would at least make him go, look, something's off.
Something's up with the drugs, and maybe he's guilty, maybe he's not. But I do have an issue with, this Jordan guy. Let's just say he did buy weed or something. His intention wasn't to kill anybody, and for the most part, that shouldn't kill anybody. Weed shouldn't kill anybody, just like if I handed somebody alcohol. But if somebody laced that alcohol or laced that weed, I'm now liable. I don't like that.
There are levels of manslaughter that have to do with reckless conduct, not intentional conduct. So that would be more like what he would be looking at. He would be looking at like an involuntary manslaughter where, like if you're drunk driving and you kill somebody, you didn't mean to do that, but your conduct, your illegal, reckless conduct caused that person's death. So, bam, you get
I get that.
Jason, are you worried about the weed that you're smoking or something?
I
know you don't smoke weed.
I get paranoid.
And we don't know. We don't know. They could have just been straight up doing fentanyl.
That's
true.
Or
nothing. Nothing.
They could have actually just been drunk. And, drunks freeze all the time.
Yeah, they do.
That's very common.
But here's the thing, real quick, Lisa, on that. Yeah. You said, well, we didn't mean to kill somebody drunk driving, but drunk driving is illegal everywhere. Nobody should ever drunk drive. In a lot of this country, weed is legal.
I don't think it's legal here, though. So, I mean, I think, if you're selling weed, that's illegal. And, and you know that it's a possibility. If you don't know what's in that, you know that's a possibility.
Yeah. This is a wild story, this Kansas City story. And also, it doesn't pass anyone who's a fan of something. Matt just drove hundreds of miles to go see the Detroit Lions and spend a bunch of money for it could be once a lifetime experience because they don't go to the playoffs that often. And after the game, you're not all texting and, dang, we won that game, and what a great game. We're on to the next game. Like, you don't check on your friends that spent the whole night there with you.
Not if there was drugs involved and they passed out.
His latest thing, this Jordan kid, though, his latest thing is that the last thing he remembers before he went to sleep is that his buddies were all watching Jeopardy together. And I'm thinking, that sounds so ridiculous. I cannot even imagine these guys that have been partying and they're probably high or whatever. This guy's so tired he's going to sleep, and they're sitting there watching Jeopardy.
Yeah,
that just sounds comical.
I think it's
while the game's on. Yeah,
there's something to the story without a doubt, but there's always a slight possibility that this guy was drunk, went to bed, and his friends froze outside, and
for 2 days.
It doesn't respond to anybody, and he's reading their messages,
not likely,
and not responding.
Yeah,
you never know. But
you wake up, if you're just drunk, you wake up the next day, and you might have a headache, you don't feel so great, but you're okay.
Yeah, and the not responding to messages and knowing that he read them, that does not look good.
In 2 days, you don't look out the window for 2 days. Your friends are in your backyard dead. Like, you don't see them for 2 days,
and their cars are out front.
Yeah, what?
And their cars are out front, and their whole families both, are all texting like crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody that's panicking, and like you said, you've seen it many times. They're putting their head in the sand. All right, we'll follow the story, Lisa. I know you got the alerts put on. We'll have a follow up with you as well, and she's awesome. We appreciate you. If you're ever injured on the job, contact her right away at hireaheavyweight.com. She's a top 100 attorney in the country, that's remarkable.